Hey everyone, I'm gonna do a quick audio check here. You guys can hear me, can see me well. I'm watching both chats from Twitch and YouTube, and I'll reply to both. So if you get a message that doesn't make sense in the context, it's probably from the other chat. And yeah, just give me a heads up if the audio is good, because I can try two different microphones. Kind of bad. Let me try. What about this one? Did it get any better or is it the same thing? Yeah. Let me try. Properties. What about this one? Is this any better? Is it the same? Better. Last option. This one now compared to the previous one. Previous one's better. Last one's much better. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, like you guys said, some of you saw on the channels, on Instagram, everything. Some of you were there a couple of days ago. I'm here in Brazil, on my home city. So my setup is a little bit not the same as where I live, of course. But I try to make it as good as I could. And yeah, today is our mid-module break. So today is our mid-module break. That means that we're halfway into the module and we're gonna keep pushing until the end. And it's just like a check of how everyone is feeling. If you have any questions, I saw a question here from Ian. I'm starting AF5 now. Is there a place to post my exercises? And yes, I'm gonna be replying questions, we're gonna be talking, it should be casual, I have some stuff to share, I have Maya open to show some stuff depending on how the conversation goes. It's still kinda early in LA time, so a lot of people from LA, Canada might join a little bit later. But in Europe, I believe now it's afternoon, like about 6, 7, depending on where you are. Here in Brazil, it's 12. So I guess we found like a good time. And yes, so yeah, if you are an animator too, you can submit your homework for review on the homework submit previous lessons on Discord. And every week there will be a review. You need to highlight with which lesson you're doing the exercise from, like AF5 lesson 1, and then do the exercise for the lesson. It's not for personal work, it has to be the lesson assignment. If you're an animator 1, I recommend you posting the exercise on open feedback. The community is very responsive, people will give you feedback and it will help you out. And if you're animator 3, you can also use that option. VIP and others who are currently sold out also would be similar, but there's like different channels for VIP, Platinum, etc. But that's pretty much the structure. Is this sound better now, Cosby? I try to make it higher now. I hope it's better. Or at least on the recording, this will be recorded, by the way. So on the recording, everything will be pretty clear, no lags, no delays. So if you miss out something, you can always just go back to the recording. Cool. So for whoever is new here, welcome. You guys must know me. If you don't know me, I'm Alex. I'm currently a senior animator at Riot Games. working on League of Legends on the new champs team, and with experience previously with feature film. So I'm currently a gameplay animator, but before I was a feature film animator, I was working at DreamWorks for a few years. And currently we're on the module AF6 Advanced Stylized Acting, which we're animating. It's more like an over-the-shoulder kind of animating a shot with Miara, the newly released rig from Animation Flow, and this shot goes through all the way from pre-production, defining the style, what style we're gonna choose, defining the idea, creating some library, and pushing through all. We're gonna go all the way to final polish, and maybe as a bonus, I'm gonna show a little bit of lighting. That is a maybe. It depends on how the module extends. We're on the middle of this module where we defined our style. We made like a lot of rules for our style. We analyzed the style we're gonna go for, and the style has some reference, like the most obvious one is bad guys. The resemblance of the character with bad guys is undeniable, of course, but there are also some other rules that when I was working on bad guys, we also studied other styles to make sure we're creating something new. So I put like several there, like Lupin the Third, Lupin First the Third, both the 2D and the 3D, Turning Red, Luca. There's a new one from Pixar, Win or Lose. I saw some posters. I think it's also on this style. And the bad guys, of course, some other anime, etc. With that style in mind, we started like exploring the character, knowing our rig, deciding which rig we're gonna use. On the case of the lectures, I'm using Miara, but if you study a style that you want, and I always mention like, you want to do something hyper realistic, you're gonna study what Framestore, MPC, like some VFX companies like Avengers, all that stuff. So you're gonna like get all those references. You're gonna find a rig that supports this kind of animation. You're gonna create some rules. For example, when you do a step, the knee jiggles a little bit. That is something that shows weight. Or if you're gonna, I'm offline on Twitch. Interesting. I'm sorry about that. I don't know how to fix, honestly, because I do everything through one platform. It's live on Twitch for me. So it's weird because it's live on Twitch for me here. I just access on my browser. Sorry about that. Maybe refresh it or try it out. Anyway, so back to it. So for example, something realistic, you have like a monster or something, you're gonna step, you're gonna have like this jiggle on the knee, which if you do something cartoony, you're gonna have the leg very bent. So we create all those rules. Then we start exploring the rig, finding a rig that supports the style that we're gonna go for. So if you need something realistic, you need a rig that has more deformation, like the muscle and all that stuff, so you can make like jiggles on muscle and things like that. And after that, we started creating a library. It's very important when you're starting pre-production of a project. It depends how big the project is and how small, but it's always important when you're creating a style, we're defining something. The idea of this module, that's why it's called advanced, is for you to set something for a production. So you'll be like the driver of this production. Usually is leads, supervisors, or if you're doing a personal shot, it's just like yourself. But the idea is for you to mimic what the studios they do in terms of like setting up a new production. So that's why it's advanced, and that's why I'm going over like creating a library. Of course, for your shot, if you're just animating a personal shot, you don't need to create a huge library. But if you're setting a style that you're gonna animate several shots or a short film, or other animators are gonna animate something in the similar style, then the library is more important to do more poses, etc. So we went over library, and then we started recording reference. We recorded reference on like several references. we analyze those references. I talked about my workflow for recording reference. What do I think? Like, how do I get in the mind of the character, getting a space that is comfortable, that you can talk and be like natural, recording several times, but don't overthink it. Like, don't try to record like the perfect reference. Try it out, edit, try it again, watch it, try it again, etc. until we find a piece of reference that we like. In the case of Miara, I recorded like a front, like a camera view, trying to replicate what my camera would be, and a side view to get more of the mechanics accurate. That's very important when you're animating. If you're just like, for example, I have my camera right here, and my shot camera is here, so it's kind of like a tricorder. I'm talking here with someone else. If I record my reference just like this, a lot of this motion that I'm doing here when I'm acting, it's very subtle because we don't see exactly. And the more experience you have, more you kind of understand. But with less experience, it's better to see actually. Like if you're rotating the chest, it's the rotation X. And if you have a side view, you can see much better. That's why I like recording in front of a mirror usually. Most of my references, I go to a reference room, or when I record at home, I try to find a mirror, and then I try to record in front of a mirror, because then I can get like the front of the character and the back, and it works out much better. Cool. Before recording reference, we did set up the layout of the shot to get the camera composition. We talked about a little bit about composition. There's a great composition class on AF1, I believe. AF1 has a really cool composition class. I really like that one. It's even like a Dropbox link. I remember it got banned when I uploaded. I'm gonna try to update that to be properly on Patreon. But that composition class, it's amazing. And there's a lot of very good composition material that I pinned on Discord. I believe I pinned on Colinks. I think so. And take a look, it's from Fluby Newbie, I believe. And there's a lot of composition stuff. Because I believe having a good composition is gonna help a lot your shot feel more like a part of a production instead of just a personal shot where you can see that it's just an animation test. I like when the shot has a purpose, when the shot is actually like feels like it part of something bigger, not just like, oh, I'm gonna animate this just for animation purpose. It has a purpose to do that, but for your reel, I believe that is better. Cool. Then we start blocking. We started with the storytelling poses. One very nice lecture I like, the first one was the storytelling poses, where I kind of get my reference, I put in Maya, and analyzing my reference with the dialogue. I remember this part of the lecture very well, where I make kind of like a comic book with the main poses. So I get the dialogue, and this is something that I'm even like try to do a little bit more in depth next time to like for educational purpose, where you put the dialogue on a comic book template. You just like create a template, put the dialogue, and try to understand your shot on this comic book format. Try to make it like as clear as possible. Someone is gonna read that as a comic book, is gonna look at your reference, and is gonna understand everything that's happening. If on that moment is not clear, if you do that and then it's just like, oh, but it's actually no, it's not clear enough, or if you show someone, they say like, I don't know, this is confusing, you stop right there, you go back and you fix your reference, you change your idea, right? So that was like a highlight for this process. And then after that, we started with the storytelling poses, just 6-7 poses, I believe, for the whole shot. That is about 10 seconds, where we go over all the main storytelling bits. We go into like very detailed poses to really sell the idea, and then blocking part 1, blocking part 2, where on part 1 we're working on step tangents, pose to pose. So pose A, pose B, pose A to B, breakdown, pose A to B to C, breakdown, and then breakdown, until we have half of the shot blocked out. And then the other half of the shot, we're using more like a spline workflow where I move like the COG, move the chest, move the head, then set some keys on important poses, put everything back in step, fix a little bit these poses, and we have a blocking version of the shot, a rough blocking version of the shot. There are like the pros and cons of each workflow, of course. And when I say rough, is because like it's missing a lot of stuff. There's a lot of attention to details that we skipped because we're still on the blocking stage. And moving forwards from this, now we're on our break. Moving forward from this, we're gonna go over spline, the workflow from going from blocking to spline, and because a lot of people struggle on that section, so I'm probably gonna spend a pretty good amount of time to show different methods to do that and be successful. And then we're gonna do spline, probably spline 2, polish, lip sync, and the last 10% of polish, and the shot should be good. Cool. One thing that I wanted to mention, it was one question that I read, I think it was one of the comments, and I hope the person who commented watched the video or is on the live, that a lot of people ask me, okay, how do I retime when I have a reference tied to the dialogue? And that is a great question because that is very tricky. When you have a dialogue and you have a reference and you just copy this reference because you're like just referencing on the same timing, how do you make it snappy? How do you avoid the floaty feeling? And anyone has any questions before I keep going on this? Just to give a break and not rush all the contents. I'm assuming no. I believe the delay is really high. So I'll keep talking. As soon as the questions drop, I'll be answering them, but expect to be like almost a minute delay because of the ping of the server. Maybe Twitch is a little faster. But yeah, so whenever I'm like I have a reference and I have a dialogue, I try to favor the extremes. So for example, let's use the Miara example. You know, you look a lot like such and such. You know, you look a lot like such and such. I get the main poses and then I try to favor them. Like, you know, so instead of just like, you know, you look a lot like such and such, that will be very floaty. I try to just snap it up like, you know, and then I spend a little longer on that pose. Instead of like, you know, it'll be like, you know, and then you, so Y, O, it's my transition, and then like you, and then no, it's where it's like snappier. So I hold it, it's like Y, U is snappier, and then you know, it's kind of like holding and settling on that pose. And with that, you can retime your reference to make sure your reference and your blocking to make sure you're still following the beats, but you keep the snappy feeling there. Feel free to also use Discord to send questions if the chat is not working here, just in case. And I will keep going. Yeah, it's a little weird that there's nothing happening on the chat, so I'm afraid something happened here. Is everything good? Can someone just confirm? I'm gonna send a message here. Yeah, okay, thank you, Nikita. I don't have any questions for now. Cool, 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 cool. So that is one question that I wanted to answer about AF6. Other things to talk about AF6, I think it's important for you guys to not try to push it through. The lectures, they're very like direct, like straight to the point, and they're very, it's a complex subject. So feel free to watch it a few times, and with that you start actually like do it and then try to do it again. Don't try to rush and like follow weekly if you don't have the time. It's better to spend a little bit longer than trying to just rush it through, because I thought a lot about this module before, and I had like everything in my mind what I wanted to go through. So for me, everything's gonna be, and I want you guys not to be boring. I don't want to record like hours and hours and hours of content that is just gonna be going around in circles of like a small section. So the content is very like straight to the point, but it's also good that you guys rewatch it to really get it. And now, if anyone has any questions, I will jump in Maya here, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about the shot itself. Maya open here. Let me change this. I'm gonna keep the chat open as well. I should put my camera too. Just give me a second. Camera. Come on. Refresh. Go. Yeah. So, oh, I cannot minimize. Okay. Cool. I have the shot here. And because we're streaming and everything, it's probably gonna be a little heavy. But we can take a look on how is the latest version of it. So the main differences of the workflow blocking in step versus blocking in spline is the attention to the details on the poses. I did give a pass on the poses after I recorded the lecture on both sides, but whenever we watch it here, you see that the first half of the shot, the poses, especially the mouth and face, are a lot more appealing. So we see that they're following our rules, and how the eye is round here, this eye shape, this eye shape. This eyelash is wrong, but the mouth, this mouth here is very nice, this mouth is very nice, etc. Whenever we go to this section that is blocked in spline, you see that the poses are a little like, for example, this pose is a little off model. It's too much upper teeth, the upper teeth is too diagonal, this curve is not flowing enough, this eye is feeling a little bit too diagonal this way, etc. And this closed eye should be a little bit rounder. This is nice, this is nice. And especially when we get to here, you see that we don't have a lot of change. Like the eyelashes here is okay, but then it's just like kind of holding it. Here it feels like it's also, you see like the eyelashes, etc. Here this eye is like completely off model, the face, everything on this face here, it's off model for this character. This mouth has like this sharp angle here, the eyes have sharp angles, the upper gum is intersecting with the face. So you see that there's a lot of small attention to details on poses that it's not really working as it should. So this is the con of animating in spline. The other con of animating in spline is that a lot of people get lost Whenever you get lost, set some breakdowns, go back to step, fix those breakdowns, and then go back to spline. The cons of working in stepped is that a lot of motion here. The spacing is gonna be just, I did a good job tracking everything, but you notice that, for example, the head here, this is spacing like going up and then down and then up. This is something that on stepped is easier to happen. Like this handhold goes up a lot and then goes just a little bit and then goes more. So this is because we're just working on the pose and we don't see the flow of this in spline. And then the hand just like gets here and then goes back there. So there's a lot of those little details. They are not actually like flowing. Whenever we go to spline, we're gonna have to clean a lot of that. Compared to this version here, you see how like the shoulder going up and down and the head, like the arc is working much better already. So those are the pros and cons. You ask me which one is better, and I met animators, many animators in the industry, and I believe it's very 50-50. It depends on the shot, yes, but a lot of animators start in spline, go to step. A lot of animators start in step, go to spline. And I started in spline, go to step for them to go to spline again. A lot of animators starting in spline, straight and go straight to polish. Starting blocking, go to blocking plus, block on choose, and barely do anything on polish. Just do more work on like fixing the poses. So it depends on what you're better. What I felt is people who are more technical, they prefer animating spline because they do understand better the graph editor. I'm not a very heavy graph editor user, but I do understand a lot of like selecting here. I know what's happening just by looking at the graph editor in spline, and I know sometimes like, oh, this is gonna pop or this is gonna be floaty, etc. And people who work on stepped, they are more into the 2D side, and so they draw very well, they know how to make the poses really well, so they don't worry too much about the technical side, they're just working on the pose. For example here, if it's like someone that works in 2D, you would go over all these poses similar to working with 2D animation and just work on each shape, everything, to make sure everything is working. Cool. Feel free to ask any questions at any time. Cool. People still there? Nice. All right. So now, because this is a break week, I don't want to go over anything new. I don't want to just like change something on this shot right now that I didn't show on the previous lessons. I want more to like just have a conversation and talk about how you guys are doing, etc. But engagement and people don't have any questions or anything, I might just pick a subject, go in Maya, and then just do a demo so we can get something out of it. But before that, I hope you guys answer. Before that, I want to go over the Animation Flow Awards. Yes, the awards, it's coming. It's gonna be soon. Prepare yourself for November. So we're in September already. We have September, end of August. So we're gonna have September, October, only 2 months and a half. And I would really encourage everyone who is watching now to participate. And for that, I'm gonna go over every category to just say like, oh, this is this, this is this. Cool? First, let's go over the websites. So here is the Animation Flow Awards, and here are the categories. Best film shot. So this is gonna be any acting, any mechanics, any shot that is focused on feature film. It can be cartoon, it can be anything. And this is gonna be the best, like the best piece of the year, like the best of the best. That is kind of like winning the Oscars for best movie. So that is like the category that is the highest category in terms of everyone should submit, and it will be like the winner will be the best one. For the game, it's the same thing, best game piece. A lot of people ask me on the game, do you need to implement? No, you do not, except on the last category here, most creative engine hookup. All the other ones you can just show in Maya Play Blast, because we're animators, so we don't need to worry about implementation, except most creative engine hookup. Best character close-up performance. This one, I'm gonna be a little bit more open. I would say, oops, not this one, this one. I would say like a shot a little bit closer than this. Let's say the camera were like here. I would allow as character close-up, just so it's not so limited in just like extreme close-up. It doesn't need to be like, my clipping plane is not even allowing me. Put this at 0.1. It doesn't need to be this. Of course, this will be a little bit more accurate, but it doesn't need to be this. If you're like around here with your shot, that is okay. Ideally, close up. Most polished shot, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. The best polished shot. Feel free to send basic exercises as well. I believe not only like bouncing ball, because that the judges, I'm not a judge, but the judges will not consider this polished because there's no complexity in terms of like curves and polish. But anything, even if it's something basic, feel free to send, because what they're gonna look is like frame by frame. They're gonna frame through and see if this is actually like, okay, the spacing is good here, the arc is here, the elbow is not popping, everything is flowing. So most polished is the most polished. Best body mechanics, you can make an acting where the character is walking and talking and submit that into best film shot and best body mechanics, and even funniest shot. You can submit the same shot for different categories. So feel free to submit acting also on the best body mechanics, as long as it's not just like my shot, this Miara shot. This is not a body mechanics shot, for example. So this one here, because my camera is like back here, this could not be submitted for a body mechanics because it's an acting piece, she's sitting. So body mechanics consider when the character is like standing, weight shift, walking, moving around. And we have the modules to support you on that. Watch AF4 is a good example of body mechanics. Even GF2 with the cinematic intro is a good example of body mechanics. And that's a good question. Can I submit something on feature and game anim? I believe yes. Like the Astoria intro, it would be best cinematic piece, but also best body mechanics. It would apply on both categories. Just don't submit like a walk cycle. You could submit the walk cycle on most polished, but not on body mechanics, for example. I will make the triage of like the shots, and if something is wrong, I'm gonna contact you personally. So just be mindful of that. Multi-character shot, as long as there's more than one character, is a multi-character shot. So whatever has more than one character, you can submit here. And funniest shot doesn't need to be the most polished, doesn't need to be the most amazing animation. It has to be the funniest. You have to submit it and people just laugh and say like, that was a great joke. And we have a few pretty funny from the community already, so that will be an interesting one. For the game side, for all the game animators, best game piece, like I said, does not need to be implemented in engine. It would probably help, but depending on what it is, but it doesn't need to be implemented in any engine, Unity or Unreal. And it has to be the best game piece. If you made like an amazing game cinematic, you can apply for this category. If you made like an amazing gameplay where you have like an attack, a combo attack back to idle and or going to run, you can apply for this category. Cool. Best locomotion cycle. I have an amazing example from Adam Turnbull, and I believe it's this video right here, this one. So this is an amazing example of best locomotion cycle. He got a pose and he made a cycle out of this pose, super well polished and super creative. So this will be a great example of like one as the best locomotion cycle. Creativity always in first place, right? So this is a great example of best locomotion cycle. Best attack, pretty straightforward. We have a few lectures of attack. So best attack, like combo attack, heavy attack, it doesn't matter. Doesn't need to be in Maya. It would be cool coming back to idle, but it doesn't need to be. So best attack. Best death. Death is always very fun to animate. It's something short. So the best death, the most creative. As long as it's like fun, it's not just like a ragdoll falling, like simulated, it looks like simulated, I think it'll be cool. And there's a lot, League of Legends has a lot of great death animation, very creative and very unique for the champs. So that's a great example to see. Best cinematic piece, pretty straightforward. Watch GF2 and we went over cinematic in there. AF4 could also be a cinematic piece if you watch AF4, like the whole chase and everything. So that is also pretty cool. And the most creative engine hookup, this one I want to talk a little bit about it because it's actually like showing in engine, and I would like to see, I don't know, like an idle to run and run to idle, or a jump to idle or jump to walk. Like something that is cool. We have on GF1, GF2 a lot of like implementation engine. So the most creative, if you look it up on YouTube and you find something like some cool tutorial, also applies. But if you don't want to like just want to follow the lectures, GF1, GF2, there's a lot of like creative blends there that I made where you're like walking and then you start running, there's a blend, and then you stop when you're running, it's a different stop. When you stop when you're walking, it's a different stop. Or you can just like, I don't know, you can stop. You can start walking, for example, I have an idle, and you start walking. She does this with the hand and start walking. If she starts running, you can put like a somersault and she starts running. So that's what's gonna win on this category. Just the most creative. Cool. So that is what I had to say about the Animation Flow Awards. Please, 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 I'm gonna create a new channel on Discord that is gonna be awards FAQ. Like if you wanna ask anything, if you wanna like, I wanna start a new show for this category, I will brainstorm with you. I will tell you what you should do, what you should avoid, and I will be guiding, because I am not a judge. So for me, this is an opportunity for the community to show the judges that we are doing great. So for me, I'm on your side. It's like you're my team, and I wanna train you and help all of you to achieve the highest possible results for these judges that I selected that are all professionals in the industry. So I will not talk to them like, oh, this guy, he started like all the way back there and he got much better, or this girl, she just started and she's like doing very good, etc., etc. When I send the shots for review for the judges, it will be scrambled, so it's not gonna be all in the same order. It's gonna be scrambled for them, and it's gonna be shot 1, shot 2, shot 3, shot 4, shot 5, etc. And comments and rating. They will not know who did it. They will not know like anyone's name. They will not know anyone's race, gender, anything. They will just see the shots. They will judge, leave a comment if they want. If not, they're not gonna leave any comments. And then I will get all of this, compile, and see like, okay, this won, this won, this won, this didn't win, and the comments, I'm gonna compile all the comments, etc. But I will not participate on the voting. Yes, you should be asking me for feedback in all the submission. I'll be helping everyone, and for me, I'll be like constantly reminding, helping, and every homework that people send, I'll be also helping everyone say like, hey, let's do this for the funniest shot because I think it has potential, and I'll be like insisting on that because for me, it's like me proving that my team is good enough for them. It's like they are a studio and I want to be hired with my team, and that's our portfolio, for example. So I'll be helping all of you guys. And talking about that, let's go over the judges a little bit. So the judges that we have here for the feature film side, I'm gonna put the chat here in the middle. Feature film side, I tried to get at least one representative of each big studio, but I didn't get only the big studios. I got some also good studios, but mid studios, and some, you'll see, because I want to have the opinion of like people who are possibly hiring and people who are seeing what is on the apex of our industry compared to what we're doing. So Bruna, amazing animator. She's at Pixar for a few years already. Worked on Inside Out 2, Turning Red, Luca. She worked on the newly announced, I think she worked on Elio. She worked on Win or Lose. And before that, she was a supervisor on the VR industry in like Penrose. Very talented, amazing. Guillermo has been at DreamWorks since forever, 18 plus years there. He worked on every DreamWorks movie you can think of. He was lead in many of them. He's currently supervisor on The Bad Guys 2, which was announced recently. And he worked, and he's like amazing. Derek is a lead at DNEG, and he worked on like a lot of this great story. He worked at Sony on Spider-Verse, on Smallfoot. He was a lead on Nimona, I believe. I believe he was a lead or an animator or lead on Garfield or Scooby, something like that, and he's still at DNEG as a lead. He's super, super talented, and he's very good at giving notes as well. Joe Hallmark we met at DreamWorks. He was sitting next to me. He worked at Sony before, Blue Sky, and then he moved to Disney. He's currently at Disney working on Storks, Encanto, just finished Moana, and he worked on Raya, Abominable, Dragons, etc., etc. Natalia, super talented as well. She worked at Sony on the Spider-Verse across the Spider-Verse. But before that, she was a head of animation on Mavka from Ukraine, a lead on another Ukrainian movie, Gulliver, and then she worked at Disney on Disney Wish. She worked also on the Sea Beast, did an amazing job there. And currently she's at Blizzard working on game cinematics, so it's more on the cinematic side, not the gameplay side. Doing an amazing job on like the cinematics to be released. Nico works at Sony. He's been at Sony for a while, since Hotel Transylvania 3, and he worked on Vivo, Mitchell's, Sea Beast. He did a great job on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. He helped a lot because he has experience with 2D animation and composition, like filmmaking. So he's working on his 10th feature film of his career. He's been there for a while. And Sir Wade is pretty popular out there. He's a YouTuber, but he's also a technical trainer. He gives notes really well, and he understands of how the industry, like where the industry is going for. And he worked at DreamWorks as a trainer before, and he's a 3D animator. He does a lot of stuff. You can look it up his YouTube channel. You see a lot of great workflow tutorials, Blender tutorials, animating Unreal, animating Blender, animating Maya. He's very technical skilled, and he gives notes like really, really well. So these are judges for the feature film category. For the game category, we have Skylar. Skylar is a fantastic animator. He's a principal animator at Riot in R&D, but he worked on League of Legends before, and he's been at Riot for a pretty long time, like over a decade at Riot. And he's amazing with Unreal Engine and Animator. I really like his work. He helped me a lot with the development of GF1, GF2, and he still helps me with game-related stuff. And he's a principal animator, so he's like on the top of the game animation industry. Jason Sham is the owner of Super City Studios, but before he was a gameplay animator. He worked at Riot Games, on League of Legends, he worked at Blizzard, he worked on Diablo 4, Battleship, The Order, and then he opened his own studio, Super Seed, and they do an amazing job doing like game cinematics, gameplay. So he's fantastic animator, and now he's like a business owner, but he's still the animation director. He gives notes every day for his team. Adam Turnbull, I just show an example from his YouTube channel of the walk cycles. Amazing animator. He left Riot right when I got there. He was working on League of Legends, but then he moved to Moon Studios. I think he finished at Moon Studios. He worked on No Rest for the Wicked. Fantastic animation, No Rest for the Wicked. He also worked on Horizon Zero Dawn. Now he's a principal animator at NetEase Games, and he's in the UK working remotely, but he's been like 13 years in the industry. Amazing animator. I love seeing his reel. I always show as reference his gameplay reel because he puts together like really well. Lena Bashinsky, she's an associate director at Riot. She's been at Riot for some time as well. She worked at Blizzard before. She's pretty popular out there for the game community. You guys must recognize her. And she's also like our core member of the Red animation team. She worked on StarCraft, Heroes of the Storm, League of Legends, and she's currently on R&D at Riot. But she's also advisor for the GDC Animation Summit, staff contributor for Anime States, the Anime Exchange, co-founder of the Tea Time Animation. So she's been dealing with the community, with the students, like giving notes for a while as well. Ben Davis, you guys know Ben Davis. We had a live stream before about God of War. He worked on God of War Ragnarok. He worked on League of Legends with me on Hui. He's back at Santa Monica Studios. Super talented. He knows a lot of weight. You're gonna hear a lot of comments about weight from Ben. And he started studying at Nomon and then worked on another studio, I forgot the name, but then just jumped into God of War, really got the style. His reel is fantastic from God of War. He did a great job on League of Legends, and now he's currently working on something unannounced for Santa Monica Studio. Brandon working currently at Riot Games as well, working on Valorant, but before that he was a previous artist from the Third Floor, so he knows a lot of composition and a lot of about like camera work and like posing, etc. He also worked for like Disney Interactive on like another game. I think it was a mobile game, and he's currently on Valorant, which is pretty cool. He does like both the 1P and the 3P finishers, all that stuff. And Gogan is experienced game animator. I did not have experience working with him, but he has his own workshop, the Gogan Animation Help. He's very focused on gameplay animation, and he worked on like pretty cool games like High on Life, High on Knife, Animal Jam, and he has like a lot of knowledge about like how to animate for gameplay, and he has like really good ideas of how to give notes because he has his own workshop, Gogan Animation Help. So that is also very good for like get someone that knows how to give notes to analyze this. Cool, that was a long introduction. Let me go back here. Yeah, that was a long introduction about everyone. So that is what I wanted to highlight. Let's start now. I saw here and I want to share with everyone, and I think this is very important. I'm even gonna share on Discord later that Gabriel made a calendar for, you guys must have seen this. He made a calendar for the awards. So I'm gonna print out this calendar as well, and I'm gonna put it on Patreon. I'm gonna pin it there, and we have like some highlight dates here. I'm gonna highlight those dates because I think now is the time to start planning for it. And let's really, thank you so much, Gabriel, for doing that. And let's really push it. I want as many people as possible to participate. Any animator, subscribe, you have to be subscribed. Any subscribed animator will be able to participate. So you can be animator 1 and anything that you have done this year. I'll probably, it's better not to allow anything that was done previous years because there's like the student reel and all that stuff. It's this year's work because I want to keep this a consistent thing. In terms of prizes, I know everyone's excited, the prizes are coming soon, but I have some ideas of the prizes. I already have the statue. You're gonna get a printed statue, it's like a 3D print statue, and I'm gonna post some photos as soon as I finish it up everything. For each category is gonna get a statue. The main category is main game animation category, and main feature film category is gonna get a statue of the feature film category of Miara, saying the best feature film shot, and the game of Astoria, best game shot. So those are like plus the trophy. So everyone's gonna get a trophy, and those two categories gonna get a statue of the character, the feature film character and the game character. And in terms of prizes, I have t-shirts. I have Miara t-shirt and Astoria t-shirts, hats. I have a few hats for it. It's gonna be split in different categories, so not everyone's gonna get the same thing, but it's like a pack of prizes for different categories. Pin, keychain, and I have the pin right here to show you guys. Oops, it's right here. Yeah, so this is the pin, is a double pin. People who came to the happy hour, they saw it in person. CTN, I also had it. So pin, keychain, hat, t-shirt, sketchbook, the Hina sketchbook, like I showed it previously. And I'm getting partnership with some companies to be announced. We're still working out the terms. I don't know if it's gonna work out or not, but I'm thinking about some actual like hardware. Gonna talk about like hardware software partnership. That's why I didn't announce yet, but there will be a lot of prizes. And review, I'm trying to get review with someone external, not just like my review, because you guys are gonna have my review constantly. So we're gonna have a review from someone else from the industry, which is also pretty cool. And that's it for now. The most exciting is gonna be the hardware, software, or ergonomics prizes. I will take care of the shipping, so it doesn't matter where you are, I'll find a way to ship it. Hopefully it doesn't get any issues of like being stuck in customs and things like that. Hopefully not, but I'll try to take care of all of that. Yeah, t-shirt and cap, it will be in different categories. I believe I have 9 hats that I will split in different categories. because we have 12 categories, so 9 of the categories will have hat as a price, just as a heads up. 9 or 8, I forgot. Yeah, I need to count it. And t-shirts, few categories as well. And for those who I don't want to participate because it's too intimidated, too many people. No, please participate. You never know. And I think it will be a good thing for you to participate, to compare the year after when you participate again and like, oh wow, I had like all this improvements. And don't feel like too intimidated, because if everyone feels like that and no one participates, no one's gonna win anything. You know what I mean? So I'm still figuring out the price. I hope the price will be a good motivation, but don't feel like, oh, I'm not good enough to participate. Everyone should participate. It doesn't matter your level, because it will be a good opportunity for you to be judged by some like a superstar panel, like Nikita said. And the other thing is, feel free to ping me about, oh, I want to participate in a certain category. Can you help me brainstorm, etc. And for those who doesn't win, don't be sad, because it's gonna happen another time. And if you really want a t-shirt and a hat, I'm trying to find a way to make like an online store or something. I don't know. This is like in the plans as well. I want to give away a lot of that stuff too. So hopefully I'm gonna have more giveaways in the future, not just the awards every year, but maybe we're gonna have like few giveaways here and there every quarter, just like giveaway or like shot of the month or shot of the quarter, things like that. I'm planning more and more of this interaction. I want you guys to feel more part of the community and more to be more fun and more excited to be around. So with that said, I just hope you guys participate. Cool. Any questions? Anything to say? The happy hour was amazing. Yeah, a lot of people, a good amount of people, not a lot, not a little. I think we were in total 18, 17, something like that. And really nice to see the students actually having a FaceTime like in person with me and with other students. Like they exchange the numbers between themselves to keep in touch, to exchange feedbacks between each other. Now they know each other personally, which helps bringing it together. The like just the interactions is not just a name on Discord. Now you can actually connect with the other person, which I thought it was amazing. And it was great to talk to everyone, talk about like my experience and answer all the questions. It was really cool. I really like it. I want to do more of that. Of course it's hard for me, but I want to do more and more of that around. I will always be around like events like CTN and Livebox, etc. So I'll try to always be around like events so I can organize those kind of happy hours. GDC, I did like a impromptu review, planning on doing more of that. Hopefully I can expand more. I know you guys, like you Nikita, you asked like, y'all come to India. I think someone also said like come to Bangladesh. It is far and I have a lot of still a lot of work here, so it's hard for me to go so far yet, but I hope I can be around and we can meet out like with as many people as possible. Even though the price, yeah, I think it's a really great opportunity to get your work reviewed by this panel judge. So that is really cool too. And all right, any questions? Everyone good? I believe we are all good. Please feel free to message me anytime. Message on Discord, because not only me, other people can answer. I'm very excited to announce some new things. I hinted on I hinted on the happy hour, but I will wait for the right time to announce to not overwhelm you guys and make like a proper announcement. But I'm very excited for the future of the community, I would say, because I'm trying to do something really cool. So yeah, keep keep just pushing yourself, pushing the animation, and we're all gonna get there. Cool. I I did participate a while ago. Rodolfo just asked, "Have you ever participated in any animation competition?" I did participate a while ago. So when I first started, before uh, even learning any animation, just like at home, I participated on the 11-second club, and I got like a very bad spot, like 100 out of 150, something like that. And then after I started studying a little bit more, and before starting Animation Mentor, I think I got place 50 something. And then after Animation Mentor, I think my highest grade there, I think I got 10th place. Was 10th place? I think it was 10th place out of 100 something. And the other competition I participated was during the Patreon. You can go on the collections. Was the challenge, the Agora challenge for the Star Wars, and I got the honorable mention, but I didn't win any. I won the prize, the art book and stuff, but it was part of the the class, so I got honorable mention there. Other than that, I never participated in any other ones. So I participated on those three. The first time any challenge made something, it was just like no prize. Agora was involved. I participated with a 2D piece, so I made like an octopus playing guitar. It was actually kind of funny. So that piece got highlighted by them, but there was no competition there. So that's all. I think that's all. I wish I could participate on the Animation Flow Awards because there's like some prizes and some cool review. I'm gonna create a fake user and participate. No, I'm joking. I wouldn't do that. And then everyone's gonna Google the person doesn't exist. And where does he work? And just like no one knows. Cool. So that is pretty much it for today. Feel free to ask any other question. I'm still here to answer. But if there's no more questions, we can wrap it. It's just like a relaxing week. We're taking a break. This module is complicated. Use this week. No homework this week. So I will review just the previous lessons homework. And feel free to just like rewatch some of the lectures, reinforce some like poses, like rethink some poses, or do more library, etc. And then next lesson, we go back to the strict schedule. Cool? All good? Yeah, that is actually a good idea. The online happy hour, where I thought about, actually, I think Nikita Alan suggested to do a arcane watch party, so that could be cool. Or we could do an arcane happy hour. Everyone turns on the camera and people just talk. I think I'm gonna look it up better, but I think Zoom has like breakout rooms that we can just like, there's like 30 people on the call, for example. We can just split in groups of 5 and just rotate those groups, so you can have like a small room to talk to this small group of people. So we should definitely think of something like that. And just, yeah, I'm gonna think more. Maybe we can do even earlier than Arcane, because Arcane's coming out only in November. Maybe we can do some like awards happy hours for people to discuss what they're doing for the awards, get some idea, and then get some feedback. I think it will be cool. Yeah, good idea. Thanks for suggesting, Rodolfo. Well, I hope you guys have a good start of your day, end of your day, rest of your afternoon, good night, no matter where you are. If you're watching this later, if you're watching the recording, thank you for rewatching. Let me know if you have any questions on the comments, on Discord, and I'm excited to see all of you next time. And yeah, thank you, and I'll see you soon.